I think I got a free pass for that because I was hit by a car. Not that great. Hello and welcome to my channel. So, oh, that was a weird intro. Anyway, today is part 3 of my 3-part series. So today is the final part of me looking back at all of my old art and graphic design sketchbooks from when I was doing my GCSEs and A-levels. So today is the final part. It is the A-level part, or A2, so the second year of A-levels. And for reference, for those that don't know what that is, I was 17 turning 18 in the year that I did this work, so match that up to whatever you guys have at your school. Today is probably going to be the longest video out of this 3-part series because I have here 2 whole like folders worth of stuff, and just this one project has 2 sketchbooks, and there's another project with another sketchbook. So today's probably going to be quite long. I'm going to try and get through it as fast as I can. If you haven't seen part 1 and part 2, I'll make sure to leave them sort of like in the cards here or here, not sure which side it is, or in the description down below, or you can just go on my channel and look it up. But definitely watch those parts if you haven't already. Either go right now and then come back here, or watch it after this so you can kind of see like the progression of my work. In my opinion, I'm not really sure it actually changed in these like 4 years, but let's just jump right into it with the first project. So the first project was all about fungi and lichens, and we have this sketchbook, and for some reason the back of the sketchbook just kind of said no, not today, we're not going to be part, even though this sketchbook's actually not like bulging open like some of my other ones. So as I said, the first sketchbook was all about fungi and lichens, I think that's how you say it, and you'll see that I use this like print all throughout this sketchbook. As usual, it kind of starts off with just kind of research, again, research into fungi and research into lichen. Like I had to research about mushrooms for some reason to be able to do this project. This beautiful Pinterest board, which to this day I still get recommended pictures of mushrooms on Pinterest, all because of this project, which is really annoying. As usual, sort of mind maps, word clouds, mind maps, product research, more product research, more product research, casually writing essays, something that I seem to do a lot throughout this A-level. More essays, sweet. And then we move on to the like product design brief and specification. I think for this, the aim was to basically create a information booklet for people to like go out and spot fungi and lichens and whatever. These are some like colour schemes I came up with. I scanned a picture of a mushroom apparently on like a scanner, so sorry to that scanner, it got covered in like mushroom juice or whatever. More inspiration Pinterest page, and then I went out into like my local forest or wherever and just tried to find some mushrooms. Basically took lots of photos of mushrooms. I also bought some mushrooms in the supermarket and just took pictures of those in my house, like on the table or whatever. Third photo shoot, again, more pictures of mushrooms. And then we move on to like the best photos. I think this is like I selected whichever are the best photos and highlighted those. And then we move on to the artist inspiration for the project, which was all about printing. And so I did a variety of different prints for this. It was my lino print that I made. I really love lino printing. I'd like to get back into that again because it was super fun. And then these ones on the end here, I'm pretty sure I just painted an actual mushroom and then printed it on a piece of paper, which seems to be a running theme because if you saw my last video, I also did that for like the strawberries in the jam one. And then another type of printing, I obviously created the print, printed it on top of the photo and then scanned that in and then returned it into like a pattern and stuff. A couple more like inspiration things, and something that I think was really cool is that if you saw the GCSE video, this was an artist that I used as inspiration in my first ever like art project that I did, and then this is like the last ever art project that I did at school, and it's using inspiration from the exact same artist, which I liked very much. But instead, it's kind of different. You kind of get the artist that you like and you actually create something from them that's like inspired by them. So I created this, which is from this like drawing that I did of a mushroom. And then I also did this one, which is a watercolour painting, as you can see here. And then I've obviously scanned it in and turned it to a bit of a pattern of some lichen. I still to this day don't really know what the lichen is, or if that's how you even say it. If you know what it is, drop it in the comments. And then this theme kind of continues with like highlighting an artist and creating something from that artist that's like inspired by them. So for this was kind of like dotted drawings. Again, this is something that I did quite a lot. And then I kind of laid it over those prints that I did before. Some borrowed drawings of some mushrooms. I really like this. This is the full-size original one, and then this is scanned in one that I layered over some other things that I'd done. And this, not really sure what this is. I think it's come from this, but yeah, some simple illustrations. So I did some line drawings, laid them over the top of the original photos, and then obviously tried to combine them here with some other stuff. This was a drawing that I did using like the drawing tablet, which is basically an old version of like an iPad, pretty much. So it's like digital drawing, and then coloured it in of this original photo here, and I turned it into this. I really like how this turned out. And then again, artist inspiration, kind of following up with stuff. I obviously got some fabric and like sewed. I did this thing that we did with shaving foam that was really fun. So you'd like squirt all the shaving foam, run some ink throughout it, and then you'd like print the paper on it, and it gave this really cool patterned effect, and I absolutely love doing that. Some more photo developments where I did some like drawings of the lichen patches that I found and like coloured them in. I like these I think I used in my final piece. And then more research, more Pinterest pages, more pattern artist research, and then I started to develop some of my own patterns and stuff. This was a pattern that I came up with, which I think is pretty cool. Again, have to do some writing about it. And then we move on to like the typography stuff, working out what kind of font I wanted for the front of the book or whatever. And then more of that, lots and lots of fonts. I'm pretty sure typography was like my least favourite thing to do when I was at A-level, and I just kind of did it for the sake of it, and I never really liked any of them, and I always just went with the generic font that I found on the internet. Again, more fonts, and you have to kind of like develop them further. Don't know who CJ Thompson is, but he's clearly the fake person that I came up with for the author of this book. More experiments, so these are like more book cover experiments that I did, and the inspiration for them. More typography experiments. So for someone that really hated doing typography, I did a lot of typography experiments, you know. I also came up with a blurb for the book, this fake book, which was interesting. Not quite sure why it's here. A little bit random. And then this is kind of getting a bit more into the bulk of it. I basically put all of the different pieces of work that I did that I liked, and I experimented with printing them on different types of paper to try and work out what worked best for what. So we have like the white paper, the brown paper, black, oh yeah, that is black paper. You can't really see, but it is printed on there. Tracing paper, and then acetate. Acetate was one of my favourite things to use. And then I did some research on like 3D stuff, because as you'll see in a minute, my final piece was very 3D, lots of different layers, very similar to this. And then I made a mood board. I hate this so much. It's probably the worst mood board that I've ever done, but it's kind of what I went with. And then you had to do developments from your mood board, so similar to what I've shown before, taking chunks out of the mood board and turning it into something different. And then basically you turn the sketch thumbnails to life, pretty much. So this is thumbnail 1 and thumbnail 2, thumbnail 3. You can kind of see how it came from like this sketch into this like final piece. This is very similar to the final one that I went with. Again, you can see the circles and how it's replicated in the final piece. And then we had the exam, and as I said, you basically had a couple of hours to recreate everything. But yeah, work produced during the exam time. I had to redo this biro drawing for a second time during the exam, along with the dotted drawings and the prints and stuff, which then went on to create my final outcome, which I will show you in the bigger version of now. And then the final boards that I created, I'm pretty sure we had to do like 2 final boards, one with just some random like bits that you did and one with the final piece. But I just kind of showcased like the best bits, I showcased the best bits from this project and sort of like how I put together the final piece. And then this board is the actual final piece that I did, sort of the flat pack. Obviously it was like a book cover, and I printed off massive, like this is like a huge A2 board, and this was actually, I think, my favourite project that I did throughout my whole like educational art and graphics like life. But yeah, and then I also obviously turned it into like an actual book. This is just like the mount board folded up, so you can see like I just folded it and then printed it out and like hooked it on the end. It's super cool, and like it's got like the layers on it, so it has this like front, it's got all of the layers on it actually, I've just noticed that, so I'm going to kind of try and show you here. But you have the first layer, which has just got this this on it. If I show you like this, just got that on it, and then you have the next layer again, which you can barely even see on this. Oh, actually literally you can't see because it's like the same colour as my hand, but got some like line drawings on it. And then the next stage is like this kind of like brown paper cutout of all the mushrooms, which is kind of stuck and I don't want to, oh I got it, it's fine. I just don't want to break this because it's obviously took me a long time. Again, next layer, again sort of like more dots, you can't really see it. And the next layer is just sort of this like mushroom print pattern. And then again, another pattern of the drawing that I did to get this final one. And then this is the final background. And then you put them all on top of each other and it creates this really cool layered effect. I'm actually really chuffed with this. I forgot that I even did this. And that is absolutely everything from the first project. Moving on to the second project, which was like my final exam in my final year available, so quite a big one. And I actually have 2 whole sketchbooks just for this one project, as well as 3 mount boards with like all of the work that I did. So I'm going to get into that now, and I'm trying to whiz through it as quickly as I can. So the second sketchbook was all looking at like architectural stuff, and for this project there are 2 full sketchbooks for this, because this was like my final piece of work, as I said. But yeah, so the theme was structure and architecture. As usual, just starting off with some Pinterest page, research, nothing exciting basically, mind maps, more research, and then we started getting into some like collages, so like looking at like photos and stuff that I'd taking inspiration, turning it into a cool collage, and this is that, which is pretty cool. Got started on some building work, so like I took some photos and then was inspired by like this artist and to create my own. This is not great, not gonna lie. Another one here, I think, yeah, not really sure. It literally says, this piece of thing says, failed attempt for Illustrator workshop. The fact that I wrote that in my sketchbook is kind of funny. And then some experiments with like typography to kind of with inspiration from this artist. I did Brighton because I'm pretty sure I used the exact same photos that I took for my art GCSE work. So it's kind of like cheating a little bit. And then I did some like acetate. So this, I'm not sure how I can show this. So I did like this painting of like the Houses of Parliament with acrylic paint. And then the line drawing in the acetate to layer over the top, which was pretty cool. I'm pretty sure I did the digital line drawing and then just printed it out onto the acetate. Some like experiments with that. More artist inspirations, and I came up with this, which is like a watercolour painting. This is really pretty actually, quite happy with that. Some lino prints. Again, I love a good lino print. This was my lino, and it was from this roller coaster. And then I also did a variety of different prints. Not sure where all the other prints are, not gonna lie. But yep, added the different colours on as I went through. And then more lino print development. So I scanned in my lino prints and like turned them into this, put some filters on them, then did some colour experiments. And then we have this picture of some building. Not sure where the original photo is, but I obviously drew this, put some lines on top. I did this painting, which is obviously the original that I scanned in to make that. And then this is the original line drawing. And then going back to some more 3D elements, this is all different like bits of cardboard stuck on to get the different layers up. Obviously I liked doing that. Some experiments with it. I'm not quite sure what I was going for here because this is hideous. About it, more inspiration, more writing, another artist inspiration, and then this is a drawing that I did which is super complex from this photo that I did using just squares because that's what this artist did. So only squared, and this took me literally days and days to do. I then did some like geometric developments from this photo going into this, which is pretty cool. I like the simplicity of that. And then another tablet drawing of this photo and drew like all the details on this, which is super cool. Another artist inspiration followed by like what I did from that inspiration, which was these two pieces of work, which I then laid on top of each other to get this. Some white pen drawings. These are like actual, not digital, these are stuck in white pen drawings that I did, pretty self-explanatory. Couple more drawings of this building, again all digital, colouring all the blocks and stuff and coming up with this, which is pretty cool. And I think that's the end of the first sketchbook for this one. Moving on to the second sketchbook, which is just going to be a direct continuation from that. We have some dotted drawings that I did. We have this photo that I kind of overlaid to do like a bit of a mood board thing with some colour swatches that I took from the photo. A line drawing of it that I did, which is super detailed and cool and took me ages. And then obviously I just coloured that in using the colours from like the original photo. And then kind of copied the thing across again, but this time it was with my actual drawing that I did instead. Lots of writing, some artist inspirations. So like this was like the inspiration and then this is like my version of it. More writing and a couple of little live drawings that I think I did. Mind maps, more writing, colour swatches, some product specification and design brief as always. More inspiration, but this time the inspiration is like of styles rather than like specific artists. Typography, my least favourite part. Another Pinterest board, classic. And then we move on to like the actual typography, which as I mentioned, I think either in this video, maybe in the previous video, that I hated the typography stage. It was my least favourite stage to do. Just wasn't something that was of interest to me, but lots of this embossing typography. So I think what I did was I cut out this and then you pressed it really, really hard and you got this. I'm not sure how well you're gonna be able to see this, but like this is like embossed in, which was pretty cool. And then I did some colour experiments on that. For typography, I'd obviously decided that I was naming this Architectonics, but yeah, some experiments with that sort of colours and different types. More of that. Colour experiments. This page looks pretty cool, but realistically it's just a rainbow version of the font that I'd come up with. And then I did this using this as inspiration and this like rope thing. I did this on a block, and you can see some like close-up photos of here. I'll also show you the block at the end. But yeah, more typography. I honestly can't believe how much typography I did considering I hated it. And then we move on to like some more experimental stuff, like bringing in a couple of my other drawings and things. More artist inspiration. And then this again was from my drawings, experimenting with the typography, using this as like inspiration for that. I'm literally trying to go through this so fast, I'm actually like out of breath. I really kind of hope you can't hear me heavy breathing. But yeah, more kind of inspiration and like my versions of it. And then I think we started to go on to like some kind of mood boards kind of things. Oh, we have more inspiration and like text essays that I wrote. This was my version, sort of using that as inspiration. You can kind of see them side by side, which I think that's pretty cool actually. Quite chuffed with how that came out. More inspiration, and then these are my versions from the inspiration. Another Pinterest page. And then some mood boards that I came up with, which I hate. I absolutely hate these mood boards. And I did a lot of them. And like developments of the mood boards, and then playing around with this style, creating my own like triangular version of it. More developments, just kind of the same thing over and over again, just lots of experiments basically. Another mood board here, which I then turned into like a 3D version. So again, all of these pieces are 3D and coming off the page. Another development of that, and then some mini mood board developments is what I've called this. And then we're finally getting on to like actually the final piece. This is obviously the font that I decided to go with and the colour scheme that I decided to go with. And this is obviously what it was. It was a design exhibition. And then I moved on to doing some like design in series, experimenting with the different layers to come up with like a final poster. And then that was obviously that version of that. And then I moved on to the thumbnail sketches, where I basically just draw up the like quick design of everything and then experiment adding in my actual photos to make it come to life and then picking the best one. So we have this, I believe is very similar to the one that I went with in the end. But this was the thumbnail, this is the actual one, this was the thumbnail, this was the actual piece. Thumbnail, actual piece. Not a fan of this one. Or this one to be honest, but yeah, coming from that again. Another one, again not a fan of this one. We had I clearly had like 2 styles. I had like the A4 style and like the long style. And then this is my actual final piece. This is like my design in series of like all the layers that I did on it, and what the final piece looked like. Lots of writing again, and then this was like the final piece. But something that was really interesting is I basically turned this into a 3D piece. So like there was lots of different layers on it. And you can kind of see that here, although this isn't the best representation of that. But obviously I had to recreate it in the exam. And you can kind of see here, I can't actually show you the final finished piece because I don't have it. It probably was destroyed by the college. But you can see from these photos that I basically hung all of these individual pieces up with string, so that you can kind of see here, yeah, like what angle you looked at it at was like made different where you could see, which was pretty cool. And that's everything for this final sketchbook. And then I have 3 mount boards for this project, which again were obviously just like to go on the wall around the college or something, and they're just showcasing a couple of the pieces of work that I kind of did throughout it. And then the final, the shuffle back, the final like art piece that I did. And as I mentioned, this was originally like hanging from like, not I'd say from the ceiling. If I could have done that I would, but I created like a fake ceiling basically and hung these individual pieces, and it took me hours. And honestly, when I went to hand in this like final piece sketchbook, I had to drive to college, and the only thing I needed to do that day was to literally hand in my sketchbook, and then I was finished. And I wrote off my car on the motorway because someone crashed into me going to hand this in. So I actually handed this in late, but obviously I think I got a free pass for that because I was hit by a car. I also have this weird like wooden block thing, which is part of like typography, and I'd like hammered some nails into it and then like did string around them, and I think this is supposed to say architectonics like the rest of them do, but obviously not that great. And that is it from the second project and from all of my old art and graphic design work. This completes the 3-part series. As I said, if you haven't seen the 2 videos, make sure to go and check them out. I hope this video wasn't too long. I know there's quite a lot in this year. Obviously put a lot of work in. Something that I will say, I definitely 100%, no questions, I put more effort in to my graphic design A-level than I did to all of my other A-levels combined, and I still got the same grade between two of them. If you're interested, I got an A-star in graphic design, and it probably was purely because I basically sold my soul to do it every day, all day. I remember like staying up doing it, which probably wasn't necessary, but it's really hard to get a good grade in graphic design. Whether you're good at art or not, like just trying to complete all the tick boxes that they need to give you the mark and stuff. So yeah, don't worry too much if you're doing your own graphics A-level and you haven't got anywhere near this much work. It wasn't necessary, I was just excessive. But that is absolutely everything for today's video and this whole 3-part series. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to give it a like and a thumbs up, and let me know, ooh, a like and a thumbs up. Like and subscribe, you know what I mean. And leave me any suggestions for other kind of videos you want to see. Did you enjoy this? Like, which piece of my work was your favourite, or is that a bit narcissistic to say? I don't know. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!